Welcome to the Elements of Spirit readings for the week of June 5th, 2017. These are free weekly readings through the elements of ether, earth, air, water, fire, for you to be able to work with the dominant element that you're working with throughout this week. So the way it works is I'll give you, this is the ether reading. You listen to this, and then you go into the description below this reading, and you find your sun sign, and then you go and listen to that one. Been getting a lot of great feedback from these readings lately, and it turns out that you could actually listen to all of these readings, start to finish, and you would probably glean something from each of them, because none of the elements exist in a vacuum. All of the elements are always combining, and it's the combination of dense earth with fluid water that makes mud, and that makes life, right? Watering the soil can create life. So there's all sorts of ways of breaking down the universe through the elements, and that's kind of the goal of this, is to get you thinking about your life not just in terms of the events that happen, but in terms of the way you sort of intuitively respond to what happens within the space of this week, within this space of this ether. And the guidance of combining the ether reading along with the reading of your primary element or secondary element. Find the element of your rising sign. If you're someone who has sun, moon, rising all in Gemini, let's say, then listen to the air one, because it's probably going to be really applicable. But if you have, a fire sign rising and an earth sign, sun sign, and a water sign, moon sign, then you're probably going to get something different from each of them if you take your astrological understanding and combine it together with the elements. I'm not doing this for astrological reasons. I'm doing this for healing reasons, for the reasons of the soul, for the reasons of trying to just do what Edible Spirit does, which is offer functional spirituality that might seem out there and esoteric and weird and bizarre, but which, upon experiencing it, can actually be applied to functional circumstances, to things that are happening in your life. So, without further ado, let's check in and see what's going on with the ether. Thanks for giving me that space. Very cool. So this is something that happens with me in sessions, private sessions with clients a lot, where I get like a stick figure kind of vibe, and will be pulled with attention to different body parts or chakras or organs or whatever. In this case, we're actually getting a message about what feels like it should be water washing through the body, cleansing your experience, water washing through the body, cleansing your experience, downward flow of water. But it's not water, it's ether in this case. So allow, what a cool message from the ether. Ether is also known as space, right? The space within which all the other elements are vibrating. So allow space to make space is the first message, because ether, space, synonymous. Allow ether to make ether would be applicable, but in this case, we're actually saying allow spirit to make spirit, or allow space to make spirit, and then my favorite, allow spirit to make space. Okay, so this is cool. This is going to provide some very functional guidance right now. It seems like the ether is telling us, no matter what's happened last week, the week before, whatever's been going on with your elements, this is going to be a great week to flush, but rather than focusing on the emotional flush, on getting rid of feelings that are stagnant or energy that's stagnant, or, that would be a water flush, or a flush of the mind, which would be air, breezing down. It's not that. It's ether breezing down through the body. Ether making space. We can substitute spirit for ether, because if ether is space, then spirit is that space pregnant with consciousness, right? Full of consciousness. The void and the light, right? Together. Same thing, same diff. Is it void? Is it spirit? Is it spirit? Is it space? Is it space? Is it light? So in this case, it's saying allow space to make space. So instead of washing through with the emotions or focusing on the mind, it's literally just telling you that you can reset yourself whenever you want. I allow space to make space. I allow space to make spirit. So another substitution we can use for spirit is meaning, right? I allow space to make meaning. Right? I allow meaning to make meaning. That's fine, but that's not really serving the function. It's a little vague, right? I allow meaning to make meaning. But I allow space to make space is pretty clear. It's saying I don't have to think about it. I don't have to feel about it. It goes, or like, it goes. I allow space to make space. I allow spirit to make spirit. I allow meaning to make meaning. I guess it applies. But I allow spirit to make space is my favorite one. Or I allow space to make spirit. I allow space to make meaning. Okay, so the point is here is that like there's probably some really great meaningful experience kicking around inside of you. But if the practicalities of the earth, the ambitions of the fire, the ideas of the air, or the feelings of the water are happening, the idea is this week is that you want to allow yourself to reset yourself whenever you need to. And here's the thing, if you invoke space to make space, sure, it can work. You can visualize space to make space. If you invoke spirit to make spirit, that's like meditation. That's like asking yourself to connect with yourself, to expand yourself. So spirit, make spirit, make spirit. But if you ask spirit to make space, feels great. If you ask spirit to make space, I allow spirit to make space. I implore spirit to make space in me. What is spirit? We can say God. We can say the light. We can say the truth. We can say the soul. We can say the higher self. We can say my higher self, which is connected with your higher self, right? The place in which we are all one, the place in which all of our separations and distinctions cease to be separate and distinct, and they are connected, in which we find our common humanity, our common bonds. That sort of juicy, massive place is not like a special zone that you only get to go into because you've like learned how to read tarot cards or because you've taken a psychic class. You get to call on spirit because if you back away from your personality enough, you are spirit. Oh gosh, I hate making big declarative statements like this, but it's possible that you might be more spirit than you are, Francine or Tommy or whatever your name is as you're listening to this, right? You might actually be more spirit than whoever you think you are. I can't prove that, but what I can say, based on what's coming through today also, is ask that part of yourself. When you ask spirit to make space, it's possible that you don't know what's going on, but the part of you that is spirit, the part of you that is connected with spirit, knows exactly what to do. It's just that we live our lives forgetting that we have this power, forgetting that we have this connection, forget power and forget connection, forgetting that we are spirit and that we might be more spirit than we are humans. But that when you become human, you identify with the human experience, and it's through evolution and meditation and practice and really just learning, right? Big moments in your life, death, birth, marriage, loss, change, that you get those kind of peak experiences where you're like, maybe, just maybe there's something else that's bigger going on than just me. But maybe I am also that bigger thing. Okay, back to the reading. Point is, you can ask space to make space, if that works for you. Space, make space inside of me. Fine. You can ask space to make spirit, right? Give me space for spirit to come in. That will work very nicely. You can ask spirit to make spirit inside of you, right? That'll work. To me, it's a little esoteric, and I'm not freaked out by the idea of asking spirit to make spirit, but I'm like, really, does that work? Is that functional? But when I ask spirit to make space, that's very clear, because I don't need a result. I don't need a feeling. I don't need an idea. I don't need anything to happen. I am trusting the part of myself that is not only connected to spirit, but that is spirit. So it's like I'm not asking for something outside of myself. That's my point. You get that, right? I'm asking for some part of myself, or maybe the part of myself that is more myself than I even have any idea about, to make space. To make space, to make room for whatever wants to come in based on your element. Or, if we swap out the meaning of spirit, if we swap out the word spirit for meaning, or if we look at that interconnected thing, because I think the most meaningful things in life are the things that make me feel connected to something, someone, some moment, to each other, to all that is, ultimately, right? To the things that are the most meaningful to me are the things that make me feel connected to everything. So the big message here oh, awesome. So I had to give you all these other three, and then with just one little addendum, and this is your affirmation for the week. And use it. I told you guys last week, if you watched last week, that people are telling me now how they're using these meditations, and that the experiences that they're having, putting these readings together, ether and water, ether and fire and earth, are allowing you to create your own meaning in your life, and gleaning meaning from this and connecting it to the practical things that are going on in your day. I can't do that for you. That's why I'm giving you this sort of like Rubik's Cube of readings to work with. But this affirmation that I'm about to give you can be used anytime you want, because it's not actually that weird. It's not actually that esoteric. It's you calling on the part of yourself that knows exactly what to do in order to clear your shit and make space for more meaning in your life that is not uncomfortable, or that is totally aligned with who you are and what matters to you, right? That's what happens when you have the faith to ask spirit for what you need. But it's not about like praying to Father God to give me what I need, and I have faith that I don't have to do anything and that it's all going to come. No, the faith is, I have faith to believe that this that I'm calling upon is a part of me, or that I am a part of it, that I have every right to do this. And I have faith to do it, even if it seems nonsensical. And I have even more faith to stand by and not accept unquestioningly. I have the faith to look inside and around me, yes, but also inside at the meaning that is created through the experiences that come into my life when I create more space for the experiences that I so desire. It feels really good because you're like, oh, I've been hitting myself up against a wall. I want to change things. I want to forgive, or I want to heal, or I want to let go, or I want to move on. Okay, all of that stuff is really great work, but like, you don't plant the seeds in the field while the old crusty crops are on top. You got to trim that down and plow it and till it. Oh, there was some stuff from last week about plowing and tilling the soil, aerating things, fertile. You got to do all this stuff to the field before you prepare it. But the idea of this reading of ether and the affirmation, which I still haven't given you, which I'm about to give you, is that you want to clear the field first. Just clear the field. Start fresh. Start fresh. The affirmation. I allow spirit to make space in my experience now. I allow spirit to make space in my experience now. I allow spirit to make space in my experience now. I like that. So let me know how it works for you. Use it as needed. You can clear your field whenever you want. When in doubt, clear it. When in doubt, clear it out. I mean, that's cute, right? But when in doubt, clear it out. When in doubt, clear it out. If you don't know what's going on, if you need something that you're thinking or feeling or doing, it's not going to go away if you really need it. But what if you're holding on to something, or what if you're identified with something that is actually limiting you? Why not just clear everything away and then start fresh? I allow Spirit to make space in my experience now. Let me know how it works. And check out the rest of the readings, and I will see you next week.